For the third time in just over a year, we're beginning the broadcast with a deadly mass shooting in this country. This time, the scene was the Washington Navy Yard in the nation's capital. At least one gunman opened fire this morning at the headquarters of Naval Sea Systems Command. 13 people were killed. A number of others, including a police officer, were wounded. One of the dead is the alleged gunman. He is identified as Aaron Alexis, a 34-year-old Navy reservist who has also worked as a Navy contractor. He does not appear to have links to terrorism, and the motive for the shooting is not known. We have extensive coverage tonight from a team of correspondents. We're going to go first to Chip Reid at the Navy Yard. Chip?
Well, good evening, Scott. There are still a lot of unanswered questions here tonight, especially the question of why. But we do know how this tragedy unfolded. Shortly before 8:30 a.m., minutes after the shooting began, hundreds of D.C. police, federal agents, and emergency first responders converged on the Washington Navy Yard, where naval employees, including Todd Brundage, were running for their lives.
Everybody going down the stairs. I mean, people were pushing, people were shoving, people were falling down. After we came outside, people were climbing the wall, trying to get out over the wall, to get out of the spaces. It was just crazy.
Navy Commander Tim Gyrus was in an alley just outside the building when a man he did not know told him there was a shooter inside.
And I said, well, that's news to me. And that was about the extent of our conversation. And I heard two shots, and he got hit.
As officers went door to door looking for the gunman, employees still inside, like Captain Mark Vandroff, were told to take shelter in their offices.
Someone yelled something about a shooter or shooting, and one of the folks in my office locked the exterior doors, and then everyone went either into the interior offices and locked themselves in or into the conference room with us.
Many of the victims were on the first floor of the building in an open atrium as Alexis allegedly rained down gunfire from a higher floor. Employees at the base say they are not checked for weapons, and getting guns through security is not difficult for anyone with the proper ID.
I could walk in with a weapon any day I wanted to if that was my disposition. You're kind of hoping that everybody else you work with doesn't do that and doesn't start shooting people in your office.
D.C. Mayor Vincent Gray said it's possible there could be a second shooter still at large who was caught on a surveillance camera.
That was a person in the video who was wearing a drab olive uniform, around 50 years of age, around 5'10", African-American man, and we are continuing to look for him to determine what, if any, involvement he may have had.
The shootings led to security shutdowns across the nation's capital. Less than a mile away on Capitol Hill, the Senate went into lockdown, and flights were briefly grounded at National Airport so that they wouldn't interfere with police helicopters flying over the scene of the shooting. As you can imagine, Scott, the possibility that there is still a second shooter at large has people in this part of Washington on edge. They've been urged to stay in their homes with the doors locked.
Chip, thanks very much.